What is up, Facebook world? This is Kimberly and Connor Tracy over here at Big Red SEO, tuning in on a Friday.
Hey guys.
Hope you guys are having a great week so far. For here in Omaha, Nebraska, we kind of got like a gloomy / fall weather, which I absolutely love. It's not super duper hot. I actually referenced to you a couple weeks ago that I woke up and the mornings kind of had that brisk cold air, and it actually reminds me of whenever we visited Ireland because we went in like the September time frame. And I was like, oh man, I know we're in this like in the center of summer. Totally think it's coming soon. I think fall's coming soon, sooner than what a lot of people think. But anyway, how are you doing this week, Connor?
Doing okay. You know, I've got there's about 1,000 things that I've got going on in my head this week. Of course, right now I got all the social media stuff on there. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. But the cool thing is that I got a new thing that will now work inside of the live chat that we're doing. So now people's chats can now show up on the screen inside of Facebook.
That's super cool. So like if people engage, then we get to see what they're saying versus having to go and tuck in and find the stuff.
Yeah, so you can find it right away, and that's kind of one of the big things I like.
Well, I do know that like Connor gets a little geeked out on this. So this started, I think this is episode 66. So congratulations, 66 weeks of consistency. Yeah. Right? But it actually started out as, okay, let's do this like, I don't know, like bare roots, like just use the camera in our computer, right? And I was actually just talking to a coaching client yesterday about it briefly. And then it kind of like evolved into, okay, what's the right Logitech? That's what we use. What's right Logitech camera? Yep. And then what's the big one? And then we got the boom mic, which is actually called a Yeti mic, but it's nicknamed Blue because that's what it says on the thing.
Well, it's a Yeti. The blue is the model, yeah. Yeah,
so like we do all these different toys, right? And all these different scenarios, and we're using all this, and then he goes and he finds the software, right? He finds the different software that we need to work and utilize and so forth.
Yeah,
so.
You guys didn't get to see it, but on my screen right now it says error number 4, application request, error reached.
Yeah.
So now it turns out, after all the testing I've done, the pre-testing, the testing on the other page, the testing on my page, the pre-broadcast test, which I did inside of here, and now it's giving me an error on the screen. So,
well, yeah. I think it
so I can sit here and play with it and fix it.
No,
or I can engage with you guys. So.
No, I think this helps with like just knowing in business, guys. Like whenever you do website and you do social media and you do all this stuff, it may not go exactly how you want it.
Never does.
Right? So you gotta learn how to like bob and weave and kind of like ebb and flow with things and maybe see like where you can just like figure out how to optimize it to the best, but then just be open to, okay, this is a live scenario. You're working with technology and different things. So yeah, maybe it's going to kink a little bit here and there and you just kind of figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely the stuff that I've been working on. So this thing that I've been dealing with has been about 1.5 years in progress.
Yeah.
And I got everything to work about 5 weeks ago, and it's been touch and base back and forth as we went on from there. But now here we are again, and still not 100%.
Well, that takes us right in the perfect scenario of the time of the year, which is back to the basics. Like sometimes you got to learn in business, especially when you're utilizing software and technology. In what ways can you go back to the basics and make it more simple, less complicated, right? The tools are fun. However, there's going to be errors. Anytime you use a software, there's errors. Yep. If you have a website, there's probably going to be an error. There's multiple different scenarios and situations. So to start today, though, we actually wanted to talk to you guys about if you have a shopping cart built into your website. As you know, we love WordPress. That's our niche. That's where we master. We do work on other codes for sure. However, we're really working on the platform that we would put our stamp of approval on, which happens to be WordPress from an SEO standpoint. With that, we've helped multiple hundreds of companies be able to launch their products in their system. And there's these 3 things that are pretty common. They're pretty common. I don't even want to say mistakes because I think you just kind of learn it as you go, right? When you're launching a business, sometimes you'll do something really, really well, and then it kind of like goes to the wayside, and then it comes back again, and then it goes to the wayside, right? So I don't want to label these as mistakes, but if you do have a shopping cart inside your website and you're selling a product, One of the most common questions that we get is, do I also need to do a Facebook shop? Do I need to do an Etsy shop? Do I need to do an Amazon shop in addition to the shop that's in my website, right? And our answer is always this. One, you have to figure out who is your ideal clientele. And then the other one is, what is the importance of the strategy behind it, right? So like if you're going to be diving into your business full time and you're like, I want to do this gig completely, fully, I'm going to designate all of my free time to build this, then going multiple channels might actually be the ideal fit. However, if you're working a full-time job and you're trying to launch something off, you have to look and figure out how much time do you have, or how much resources do you have to invest in somebody else to be able to set things up for you, because it has to be consistent. So what I mean is, we see a lot of small businesses that are like, let's go launch a website, and then they start and get stuff in, and then they go and do a Facebook page, and then they'll put some stuff in really quick. And then they'll do an Amazon and an Etsy, and nothing matches, nothing meshes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the, I'll go ahead and start this now, or I'll put in 5 or I'll put in 10 products right now and see what happens. And then I'll do the rest later. Yeah. And then the later never actually happens.
It never happens, ever.
So did that show up over there? It did. Okay. All right. Cool. Sorry.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you're watching, yay! If you want to put a little comment in there to make Connor happy, you can. But it's not required. No pressure. No pressure.
Wait for next week, and then you can leave a comment, and I'll try and have the software fixed again. It's really annoying when it doesn't do what I want. But hey, it's no different than anything else. So.
Yeah. So the thing is like with shopping cart specifically in websites, here's our golden arch view in everything. We always want your traffic to go back to your website. So if you opt to do a website, you have products that you're selling inside of your website, you want to make sure that when you're sharing those, whether it's in Facebook, like social media, Craigslist, the signature of your email, whatever it is, you want to drop your end users directly into the shopping cart specifically.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. So if you're telling people, hey, go check out our shop for the latest products, you don't want to just put your company URL. You need to put your company URL that drops them into the shop page, because here's what I'll tell you. Any website visitor, any individual right now that has technology, they want quick results, and it has to be simplistic for them, right?
Well, and not even landing just on the shop page. I mean, if you're talking about just the shop as a whole, but if you're talking about an individual product or you're promoting an individual item, you don't want to land on the shop page or the home page of the site. Right. You want to land on that individual product. And it goes the same both from the Facebook AdWords.
Right.
If you're doing a Google AdWords campaign, land on the actual promotion you're doing. Right. Not on, hey, here's everything about us, or here's our history.
Yeah.
Not that nobody cares. I don't want to say it that way.
Well,
if they're looking for $20 off coupon, the thing they land on the page better be a $20 off coupon.
Yeah. And we're not saying that people are sitting there saying, I don't care. But if you guys think about your own shopping experience, if you see something on Facebook that you want to buy, or you see something on a website that they're promoting it in a slider or somewhere in their website, it can get a little frustrating if they just drop you into the regular shop page that has anywhere between 5 to 2,800 products, right? Because then you're having to go hunt and peck. So the thought process is you want your end users to experience kind of the same organization that they do when they go into a grocery store or they go into a big department store. They know where the clothing is. They know where the food's at. They know where they need to go get school supplies or buy a jump drive for their technology. They know where to check out to be able to purchase the stuff. They know where the customer service is to go ask the questions if they've got it. And if they need a prescription, they know where to go into the pharmacy and or the over-the-counter where they can just buy it in a box, right? So you want your shopping cart and you want that experience to be pretty much laid out exactly the same. Sometimes what happens is small businesses, they'll just set the stuff up, they'll put the products in, and then they don't think of the growth that they're going to have. They're just hoping to sell something, which we get it. It's super exciting to do that, right? But you have to have some form of a big game plan. What is it are you doing? And is the titles of the products in the descriptions, are they articulating what you're doing and how you're doing it? One other thing is if you opt to go doing the Facebook shop, which we have a lot of clients that do that. They have a website and then they have a Facebook shop. And the thought process behind that is the end users might overlap and be the same, but those that are doing Google search kind of have a different brain than social media, right? It's just two different things. Yes, you'll have them overlap, and yes, you can cross promote for sure if they use those platforms, but they're kind of totally different. So like, think about this. The people that use the search might be on their phone at 2 a.m. in the morning, typing in specific keywords to find the product.
Right. And even, taking the website end of things, and then your Facebook end of things, and then Amazon is another one.
Yeah.
And those, as you said, those types of people are completely different. I wouldn't take your entire online store that you have in your website and put all those products on Facebook. I would not do that.
Yeah, unless you have a team that does it, and then that's a totally different gig. And if you have time and resources,
but it should be focused, or it should be specialized in some angle.
Well, yeah, and the other thought process is you have to worry about inventory too. So like in your website, if you build your shopping cart, it can track the inventory for you. However, if you do like a Facebook shop, then you have to go in and manually tally that. I don't think that there's integration where it can pull right from an inventory for social media.
It depends.
Okay.
So there are a couple of e-commerce systems out there that will integrate directly with Facebook and will keep the things updated.
Yeah.
And then there's actual stores that run within your website that are basically from Facebook. So, bless you.
Excuse me.
A few years ago, we used to work quite a bit with Equid.
Yeah.
And Equid was made by Qualiteam, which is
I
same
always
guys
like saying that word.
that do Xcart, and awesome software. I've loved Xcart since 2000. And but Equid is a shopping cart system that you can put on your website, and it integrates directly with Facebook and shares the promotions over there.
Yeah.
I believe now it also integrates over with Amazon. You can choose what products you want to go from one place to another. But other systems don't necessarily do that.
Yeah.
And tracking inventory and inventory management, that can be a big challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. So here's the deal: is if you guys decide to do a shopping cart in your website and you decide to do a selected part of products in Facebook, the sweet spot is between 10 to 12 products. I mean, if you have 3 products you sell, then sure, go ahead and put those into Facebook. Like, that's absolutely acceptable, right? Again, the overall goal for us is if you opt to not do a Facebook shop, which you're not required to, right? Like, a lot of people think it's like huge success. There's like a total strategy and scenarios that have to happen for that to be successful. Do you just setting it and forgetting it? That it typically never works in marketing, right? But if you opt to just keep the shopping cart inside of your website, you can actually cross share and promote through your Facebook page. Again, drop them directly into the specific product that you're talking about, right? The other thing, this is me and my golden rule. I don't know about you. I'll ask your opinion here in a second.
Here we go.
So if you are going to share a product on social media, do not just copy and paste the product description into the Facebook. So you've got to realize that your end user wants to hear a story and wants to kind of be guided on why they need your product, right? So if you just pop in a description of, hey, go buy my thing, it's this thing and it's made of this thing, people are going to be like, that person's just trying to sell to me. Like, they're just selling a product. But if you can create a story of, hey, our clients enjoyed this, and this is what happens, and this is how it can impact you, or it's that problem solution scenario, as well as you don't want to instill fear. Like, we're not believers of doing that, but you can instill excitement of how that's going to change that person's life, right? Inspiration, empowerment of, you need to have this thing so you can go this next level, if that makes sense.
Yep. So what was the question?
I didn't know.
Maybe y'all heard it.
No, I mean, I think the question is, would you recommend people copy and pasting from the description into social? I guess there wasn't really a question, y'all. I was just ready for him to pounce and add his own, tidbits, right?
So, the users, as you said earlier, I mean, the users are different in each one of the platforms. If you copy from one and paste into the other, it's not going to work.
It's not. And it's not going to go well either.
No. And it's no different than if you're sending out like a mailer campaign, a postcard campaign, direct mail.
Yeah.
The message you put on there is different than the message you're going to put on Facebook.
Right.
And the same thing translates over to the website. On Amazon, people just want the facts. They want the specs. They want the information.
Yeah.
Let me buy the damn thing and get out of here and give me my 2-day free shipping.
Yeah.
Okay?
So here's the deal. And that's another conversation about shipping. Most cases it's a trend that if you hit a certain dollar amount, you'd get free shipping in.
Sure.
Shipping is one of those things where if the shipping goes too high, I check out and I won't buy it.
Sure.
Like it's kind of one of those, I kind of know the numbers and what it is. And granted, there are some businesses out there that do like eco-friendly packaging, which I admire and I respect. There was a gal, she's really good at what she does, and I ordered from her twice. The shipping cost was a little high, so I just threw her a note, and I think she organized something of it. They spent this amount. And what she did was really impactful because she actually did Facebook Lives to show people why the shipping was more of an investment and showed the product of what it was. So then at that point, I was like, well, hell yeah, I'll invest in that, right? So the shipping, like, it could make or break your business, especially if you're selling a product that's like $6 and the shipping's $7.
Right.
It can kind of get a little sticky with that. So when we build shopping carts, what we do is we build the product and then we put complementary related products with it down at the bottom to get them to purchase more if they want to. Because a lot of times you don't just go to the grocery store for milk. Sometimes you get a candy bar as you check out.
No, you don't.
Sometimes Connor like gets donuts as he checks out, or a bag of chips, or some Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, or sometimes he buys his wife roses and flowers.
That's been a while.
It's been a while. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us and watching.
Yeah, so with the shipping, it's definitely all over the place. But the Amazon people, they're very straightforward. They want this. They're not really looking for the story or their information.
Yeah,
and depending on the service that you're buying, and service businesses are different than physical products or virtual products.
Yeah.
So with the service, you generally have to tell a story of some manner somewhere within the website, usually within an advanced tab inside of your product itself that you're selling. So,
yeah. So Amazon's a different breed altogether. So we've talked about having a shopping cart in your website, having a shopping cart in Facebook, having a shopping cart in Amazon, and then Etsy is a totally different breed as well.
And two things on those products. So nothing pisses me off more. Well, it pops.
Here's the rant of Facebook.
Here we go.
Here's the rant of Connor.
The thing that pisses me off
Do
the
I
most,
need to like open some water and
cool me off. Yeah. Has always been.
You're not wearing white,
right? It's always been pop-ups. Pop-ups have always annoyed me, but they do serve a purpose in some situations.
Yeah.
Maybe you can comment below as to why you think a pop-up is awesome.
Because they get email addresses and they build a list, right? Like that's the thing. Like, it makes sense. I think that I'm going to speak for you for just a second.
Here we go.
I think the part that really pisses Connor off about the pop-up is there's a specific science of time of when a pop-up should show up. So like if you're sharing a link inside of a social media and you're telling somebody to go buy the product and they click the link, guys, you already have the conversion.
Right.
You already have somebody who's like, I want that thing. I've clicked the button to learn more, right?
Stop selling.
So the thing is like whenever they click in and they land, and I'm going to take you all to Kim's church for a second, but when they land in the product and they're ready to buy, all of a sudden you have, bam, there's a pop-up that shows, it startles them. And they're like, what? I have to read the thing. And granted, it could say 20% if you give us our email address and all that stuff. That's great. But here's the deal, y'all. You already got the click in. They were ready to buy or they were ready to learn. So we get the whole pop-up and we get the capturing.
Right.
But there's a science. So see if you can do like 2.5 pages in and then it pops up, or 45 seconds to 2 minutes and then it pops up, or
after it's scrolled.
Well, and there's a way also to like have it, and you do this really, really well, but there's a way to have it where whenever they're going to check out, it can pop up and say, hey, submit your email address, get 15% off for issuing your email. So then what happens is you already got them converted, they're clicked, they're putting their card in, they're clicking their PayPal, and it's a bonus to show up and say, oh gosh, this is super cool. Yeah, I want that extra discount.
But in a situation like that, I wouldn't use a pop-up. I would just have the page expand a little bit further. It's
fascinating.
And have it on there.
And there's some people that pop-ups work really, really well, and we're not telling you not to do it. Right. It's just, if you already got the person converting, just realize you're startling someone to be like, oh gosh, there's something else right here and right now. And here's a little secret that a lot of people don't talk about, which we have conversations all the time and we do testing. People typically copy somebody else doing something because they've seen it. They actually don't know if it was successful or not. So they'll be like, oh, on this website, so-and-so does this thing, and I love that thing. It's got to be successful. Everybody's doing that thing. Right. Guys, don't follow the herd. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean it's necessarily working. Like, you really need to look at your analytics and figure out, would it work? Does it not work? Test it, remove it, add it. I'm just saying, like, there's different scenarios in different situations, but pop-ups for you. Like, he likes some pop-ups. Like, some pop-ups, if they do it correctly, you're like, hey, that's a pretty damn good pop-up. And then it goes away and he doesn't get it again.
Yeah.
So you can't re-show me.
There's, across the board, generally, pop-ups not my thing. But anyway, so that's the one thing that pisses me off. But the other thing that pisses me off, and where I was going with things, is when you're sharing your product links or your website link or any of that kind of stuff on Facebook or on Instagram and things like that, there's things in the background that have to be done. A featured image or an open graph image has to be done. Your open graph title and description. These are the things that are going to show on a Facebook page in particular. It's going to show that product or that description and whatever it happens to be that user is sharing on that page. So there's a lot of times when I'm going through Facebook and I'll just find a link and people will just have a link. Oh, go check this out. And you'll click the link and there's nothing actually there.
It stops. Oh,
we didn't stop. Did we stop?
We can keep going for this on YouTube.
This says we're still live.
Yay!
You tell me if we're live or not, people. Are we still... Did you click play?
I did.
Live? Yeah, Kim didn't actually click play. That's all that was. So...
No, I did. I was watching it the whole time. So anyway, carry on.
So... where was it going? So anyway, put your image in, put your description, put your title. All that stuff has to be done because just sharing a link is not going to do anything.
Yeah, So, and here's the deal, guys. We get like starting from the ground up, right? In your products, you're going to have to evolve your product images throughout as you go. But in addition to it, make sure that you're presenting the best that you possibly can in your products, right? It all depends on what industry you're in and how you go about it. So just make sure you do it and you do it quite well.
You may not be able to stream at the same time that I'm streaming over here.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so other than that, Connor, like I want to talk about possibly like not just doing a shopping cart for products, but also doing a shopping cart for services. Like what are your thoughts and what are your reviews on that for a small business?
It's going to depend on the service and the price point.
Got it.
You know, that's probably the big thing. Depending on the product that people are looking for, they're going to be price shopping. And if your prices are too high, then you're probably going to lose the sale, even if your service that you offer is better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a prime example, be a roofing company. You know, we had the storm that came through here a few weeks ago or whatever.
Right.
If on the website they're saying, hey, if your house is, let's say 1,700 square feet, this is the price. Now, obviously, they're not going to do that, but they'll have it like a price range or whatever.
Right.
People are directly looking at the price. Yeah. The end result is going to be exactly the same.
Right.
Just give me that. Or tree trimming is another one.
Yeah.
This to do a tree trimming has cost $1,000, and this guy over here, he charges $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't put a buy now button on there. It doesn't work.
Well, and I think the area where this might work for a service specifically is say that you offer a service and it's a set price. So people buy a package for something, right? That would be ideal. Like if you're a hairstylist, it's probably not going to be a sweet spot for you. However, if you're a nail technician and you only do a certain thing and you don't have things that upcharge, or if you're a massage therapist and there's like a charge and then usually somebody gives you a tip, then that actually would be good for a shopping cart inside your site.
Yeah, I think a massage therapist would be perfectly fine. I think a gym membership is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They're solid products, but when you get into service and you're having to do quotes and estimates, that
quotes
can be
and estimates
tough.
for sure.
And even on our own website, I mean, we do website audits, and it's a fixed price for a website audit. So having a button there to purchase is no problem.
Right.
The issue becomes that it's a higher ticket item than other people might be used to.
Right.
And that can scare people away. if they don't know all the full details.
But the thing is, as I say, like, don't let people get scared. Like, just put it out there. Your ideal client would find it. So it's like kind of a test market. So the thought process is how you can determine if it's right for you to create a shopping cart is if you're doing the same thing over and over and over of you have the conversation, you send them the invoice, you process the invoice, you start the project, you do A, B, and C. It might be ideal for you to build a shopping cart so you could easily say, hey, go to the website, purchase. The system does it for you automatically. Yep. You can sync it up with a calendar that puts it into the calendar, and then shebang, you're in business, right? If you have questions on if your business is ideal for a shopping cart, feel free to reach out. If you have a shopping cart and you want our expert eyes to look at it, typically our audit is $200 to be able to do that. We comb through, we give people a list of the things that might need to be adjusted or fixed from an SEO perspective and an end user. We're actually doing that for $79 until next Friday. So feel free to reach out if you want us to look at your site. It does include a 20-minute phone call where we kind of give you all the details and then you go and apply it. And of course, if you want to hire us, we're happy to help you with that. But the audit's a sweet spot to have expert eyes look at it and be like, yes, fix this. No, don't fix this. Eliminate this, enhance this a little bit. But
and, you know, last week we talked about the checkout process on the e-commerce sites and that you need to go through and actually perform a checkout as to what
you need to test
actually
your
happens.
Things. You have to test your things, guys.
So those are some of the things that we do from that end of a testing thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, from that end, on our website, there's a button and you can just go click it.
Right. Well, on our website, it's $200. So how you would do that is, Connor, go ahead and we'll put the email down at the bottom. Yeah. Or just send us a direct private message, and we'll get you in. Again, the $79 is good until next Friday. Typically, it's $200. The value is through the roof, so it's way past that. As you guys know, we love what we do. We step in and we serve, and we help businesses all across the board in all different industries. So we would be happy to see where you're at and where you can like shift and enhance things. And if you have specific questions, that's the perfect time to kind of pick our brains, if that makes sense. And then we get geeked out and then we get all like lit up, and it's just, you know, it's just fun, guys. It's fun.
And somehow when I'm doing the research and digging through things for clients, all of that works. But then when I'm dealing with my software over here, it drives me crazy. But
yeah.
You know.
So hey guys, if you could, feel free to check us out on Twitter. The URL's down at the bottom. YouTube's down at the bottom. Connor like copies all this stuff in. We're going to be working on some videos for how-to. So if you have specific questions that you're struggling with in business, that's the perfect time to submit them our direction, because then we can create some kind of like thing for everybody to utilize, and you kind of get your answer at no charge, if that makes sense. So if you have questions, reach out.
Yep. And there's a whole video series that I'm working on currently. Some of them are recorded, some not, but it's 5-minute SEO. Yeah. So it's stuff you can do. Basically, I'll talk for 5 minutes. Might take you an hour to do it. But I'll give you the overview on how to do it within 5 minutes.
Just have a beer, a whiskey. You're good, right? Yeah, you're good.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. Just on the links, like I said, just make sure all the things are done. All the areas that you could possibly fill out in your store, fill them out.
And here's the thing we would start, or like in the whole Facebook Live with. Say that you have like products that you no longer carry anymore. It's okay for you to take those products off your website, but you do need to do a 301 redirect where it puts them back into your main shopping cart, because the search engines probably have already indexed your products. They probably have ranked you somewhere, some area. What happens is a lot of times business owners that don't know, they just go and delete a product. Well, that link is still live and valid. So if you don't go in and clean that up, what happens is your end user just lands on a 404 page, and that's never a good feeling. Like, believe it or not, people make the assumption that businesses are out of business when they get that page. It could really hurt your reputation for a product in a business. So just go through and clean up. If you have questions on that, we have blogs into our website. We have over 450 blog articles. I know a handful of them are about 301 redirects and so forth. And yeah, stay tuned for the 5-minute SEO tips from Connor, because they're going to get pretty cool, and I'm excited. So in the meantime, have a great weekend, and we will chat with you guys next week. Thanks so much.
All right, guys.
Bye.
I got to find the button.
It's like disconnect. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
One of these. Where is it at? There we go. All right, guys. Have a great day
See ya.
now. Thank you.
Do we need to do some